listen to this, man. Their whole team doesn't listen, bro. They always announce like that they're gonna make these updates and like, oh yeah, we're gonna have all these changes. But guess what? Nothing ever changes. It's still laggy. And on top of
seriousness, it's just unfortunate that a lifetime rank that was purchased years ago gets you essentially nothing now.
Like, the server has kind of went downhill. Like, the server used to be packing with people. We would call it LBSG, but now it's not.
It was meant for SG and it's not even technically available. And so they did the most EA Sports like thing and went ahead and made.
That was like the one game.
If you take anything from this, please better communicate with your staff. Some things are clearly not properly communicated. If they didn't want your money, they would think outside of the box and make game modes that could actually work. And maybe they could try and make game modes that don't lag, dude. Because every single time I play on this server,
Lifeboat removes the rank. They just got rid of it. It's gone. They removed the rank.
Exploitation, technical issues, lack of new features, and poor management. These are some of the words that describe the Lifeboat network and many servers like it. At first, it was seen as a server with great potential and was the most popular on Bedrock, but has turned into a greedy space that does whatever it can to get the most money out of its users over time and with little effort. But how did it get this bad? And why does it represent everything wrong with many other servers? Well, before we get into it, let's provide some background to those that are not as familiar with the network. There is a very limited amount of information that I have found regarding Lifeboat's history. I might miss a few details here and there, but I'll do my best. Lifeboat was originally launched around 2013 as an exclusive Minecraft Pocket Edition server. There was a very limited amount of plugins that could be used at the time because multiplayer had just been introduced to mobile versions. The performance was fairly laggy, however there was a very few cosmetics and no pay-to-win mechanics at the time. Overall, it was a decent small-sized server, but not a whole lot to it like many of its Pocket Edition counterparts. As the years went by, the Lifeboat team got bigger, MCPE servers drew in more traffic, and many new minigames and modes were added. The server started to become more widely known when on September 20th, 2017, the Better Together update would be released in several versions with the goal of binding the select version into a single version. Well, when that update was released, a select few servers that partnered with Mojang Studios would appear as featured options to choose from in the main menu. These would attract a hefty amount of traffic. One of those was the Lifeboat network. By partnering with Mojang, these servers would gain a very significant boost to not just their popularity, but also the amount of power that they have compared to other servers. Just being a default option on Bedrock menus alone gave these few servers an immense amount of exposure. The only servers that these mega giants actually had to compete against were the few other options alongside them. Meanwhile, the other non-featured Bedrock networks had to rely on internet exposure and word of mouth to advertise their own servers. Unless browsing for other Bedrock servers on YouTube or on sites, you would not know the existence of other servers at all. Not knowing much about alternative servers beyond which featured, along with a generally younger audience on Bedrock, gave the perfect breeding ground for exploitation. These servers varied when it came to the goal of just how money focused they truly were and are. But all of the main Bedrock servers look so fake with how they present themselves, and honestly, I'm not sure exactly why or if others feel this way too. I believe they give off this feeling of trying to look inviting and friendly, but they try so hard that it ends up just showing their true motive of just wanting money. That doesn't mean there isn't a lot of fun to be had, there certainly is, but being constantly told that you can buy this item to get better at the game really wears the experience down. Minecraft's own guidelines restrict the use of paying to receive an advantage over other players, yet they are found in the servers that Minecraft has partnered with. This shows that no server is allowed to put in pay-to-win mechanics unless you are best buddies with the Minecraft team. That is exactly what Lifeboat is doing, alongside showing terrible performance problems when present on the network. By the way, you should totally sub to me and or like the video if you are enjoying it. We are starting to get close to that 5k sub mark, so I would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching the video this far, let's continue. Technical issues like glitches, lag, and crashes are common on Lifeboat. A game of PvP will work like a game of Battleship because you will click on an area the player is in at a given time, but you won't know if you damaged them until several moments later. It's something I think we have all experienced at one point playing multiplayer. That could have caused players to die and lose because where they had seen the player at that moment was actually where they were 5 seconds ago, and the next thing you know, they hit you off the edge and into spectator mode. It creates frustration and causes players to find better server alternatives to play on that give a much smoother experience. This is a huge reason why Mineplex is dead now, showing very low player numbers compared to how much it used to have before. There are so many issues that Lifeboat has regarding this. One of the strangest ones that I have encountered is that when playing Zombie Apocalypse, right-clicking or holding will result in placing nether bricks wherever the user is pointing. Doing this a few times resulted in me being kicked from the game for suspicious activity.
Huh?
I cannot tell if this is meant to be a bug or not, but either way, it looks like it shouldn't have been in the game at all. It makes me wonder if these games were even tested. It's not uncommon for these things to be found on other servers too. What many servers like Lifeboat do is refuse to fix the issue for years on end and act like the issues already in the game do not exist. Now, you might be thinking, well, they're just busy making new additions and changes to the server, right? Well, that is where I think you're wrong. That will introduce us to my next point. Lifeboat lacks new features to keep its audience engaged with new content. When they do release new content, it is mostly focused on features locked behind a paywall. When they aren't focused on making cosmetics or paywall features, they give out basic additions like UI changes. Other servers will only offer features if it means making them an excessive amount of money. By failing to innovate with new ideas that make their server stand out from others, they lose their user base who go out and find better options. Ultimately, servers like this one choose to profit in the short term rather than make more money in the long term. This brings us to my final reason. All bad decisions that servers make are the result of those in charge of the whole thing. When researching for this video, I encountered so many instances that show the incompetence of the staff. Not all the staff are that bad, but there is a sizable amount that makes the server the way it is today. It has been reported by several ex-members of staff just how bad it was working for them. Staff members have been punished for criticizing the server and suggestions aren't taken seriously. I wouldn't be surprised if this was true. There are so many other poor management teams out there working on different servers. If management is downright neglecting or negative, you can expect their servers to shut down in only a matter of time. Lifeboat has definitely changed its priorities as it got larger. Once being a friendly, player-focused environment and devolving into money-hungry exploitation, I personally used to love playing on Lifeboat in its early days and haven't been on for close to a decade. When I revisited it, it seemed like it lost its own identity. When looking into Lifeboat's history, it seemed like only when it became a featured server did the staff start to take advantage of its own players by shifting their focus. Lifeboat Network had risen to be the largest Bedrock server for a time and into a multi-million-dollar project. However, years of neglect for the player base and its own server have caused its popularity and player base to dwindle significantly. This network shows all the signs of shutting down in the near future with how it is currently headed. It shows some of the same reasons other servers are losing their player base and shutting down. Mineplex, MC Central, and Pixel Paradise, only to name a few. Sure, one could argue that these servers need to bring in more money to keep their networks up and running to pay staff and resources. However, if you compare the most popular server Hypixel to Lifeboat, you can clearly see the difference in priorities they are trying to accomplish. I mean, upon spawning in Lifeboat, the server will bombard you with things to buy with minecoins. So much so that it will give you a headache. Meanwhile, once you log on to Hypixel, they are much more subtle and not as much in your face on things that you can buy, and Hypixel is doing just fine. I mean, what kind of server kicks you out of the game mode if you play it for over 20 minutes a day without paying money for its prison pass? So you're telling me I need to pay money to stay in jail? Prison mode is already strange with it looking like a giant child labor law violation. This server alone represents an even bigger issue, which is the Minecraft server and marketplace on Minecraft Bedrock. Microsoft does not care what is going on in Bedrock as long as it earns them a profit. Otherwise, they would have done something by now. I wanted to bring more awareness to this topic because of how terrible it all is. With the direction that Lifeboat has been moving towards, I think it is well deserved. It is unfortunate that some people continue to pay for these in-game items, placing the money into the pockets of the Lifeboat staff, and encouraging the higher-ups to find ways to maximize their profit by implementing more paywall items and gear. From exploitation, to technical issues, to lack of innovation, to poor management. These are what plague many servers today. I can only hope that in the near future, these servers revert to friendlier ways or lose their players to another community that is innovative, loved, efficient, and respected. Now, you might have wondered why I'm making this video on Lifeboat instead of many other options out there. Well, I chose this because of how much I used to put into this server in its early years, and so it brought me a wave of nostalgia when I heard about it again a few weeks ago. But I also feel like its falling popularity and the wide range of issues present in this server show a perfect example of how not to run one. There are so many great servers out there that deserve more recognition and attention made by communities that have honest motives of wanting players to have fun. So when there is more traffic going into servers like Lifeboat because it automatically shows up on the server list, it just does not seem right to me, and I hope something changes. With that, we'll conclude the video. I know this is different than what I usually do, but it's something that I wanted to make a video about for a while now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, and as always, have a good one.